I realized that some of the things we get so frustrated with our children about, we did ourselves. Some of the things we get so frustrated with people about, we did them ourselves, but we're so high and mighty, so, no, not me, I'm so righteous, and my perspective is so holy. Come on, let's be honest. Did y'all know what I'm talking about? Okay, I'm just checking to see if I got the same saved people in this room. You see, there's a story in the book of 1 Kings chapter 19 about a guy named Elisha, that spirit that God said he would send. Why don't we look and see what that spirit was? You want to do that real quick? Turn to 1 Kings 19. You know what? I want to say something. It's not too late to get it worked out. It's not too late to let God come in and change whatever it is. Listen, some of us, we're packing some pain and we're acting like we're not. We're trying to make it seem like we don't got something we do got. Some of us got some real pain around our parents, some real pain around our fathers, some real pain in our life around maybe some place in the past where we failed and we felt embarrassed about it and we're still holding it against ourselves and God's already forgiven us for it. How many of y'all have recently asked God to forgive you of all your sins? Look at me, everybody in the room. Everything you're trying to talk to God about, He doesn't even remember. He threw it in a sea called forgetfulness. He cast it as far as the east is from the west. You're saying, yeah, but I need to beat myself up a little bit. No, you need to stop beating yourself up and let yourself go and have a new day. And then this week, when you start to mess up again, you need to say, God, I give you that, and keep going. And keep growing and go from glory to glory. And say, God, what is my homework this week? Which, brother, I always forget, what's your name? Ronnie, I want to tell you something. You're about to go into a season where you're going to have an incredible reconciliation all around your life. Where you're going to find yourself walking places and not realizing how much there are people that wanted to reconcile with you all along, and all you needed to do was just walk up and say something. And there's something about you. I told Don this, and I don't know anything about you. I said, you're a man of great influence. That there's so many people around your life. And so as God takes you and He gives you something to say or something to do, don't fear at all. Just go for it. Because God is changing you, man. God is changing you, man. Things are totally changing for you. And instead of looking at whatever it is you feel like is a failure, I want you to look at God's opportunities for success. Which is not hard for you because you're kind of resilient and you get back up anyway. So just get back up and go to it. Just go after it with God. This is a great adventure that God's got you on. There's other people in the room that need to hear the same exact thing that I'm saying to you. That's why I'm saying it to you. Huh? You need that? So grab a hold of it. That's what prophecy does. Is when somebody shares something, the other people in the room say, okay, hey, that's for me too. That's mine. That's not just his, that's mine. That's what you all need to know about me. If you're with me and you start sharing something that's revelatory from God, I may just steal that from you and use that on Sunday. Because it's God's revelation, not yours. Y'all having fun? Okay, I got to make this quick, so let's go real quick. 1 Kings 19, I want to get you all out to have lunches with your families. You can get home to your wife. Before I do that, I want to do something, though. I want to have Don come, and I want you to share what I asked you to share. No, right in the middle is good. I like peanut butter and jelly.
At the end. So I hate when he does this. You turn around and tell you something, and then you got to try to figure out, Lord, what am I going to say? Because a lot of times you don't know what to say. But when Minister Cordell was singing and stuff, just him singing really touched my heart. it made me think about something, because he was asking me, what not having a father and what going through all of that without a father and stuff, what I need to do and how did the Lord order my steps. So as he's saying and stuff and all like that, it was really touching me. So then I looked at the picture and I thought about that. I said, I'm the one that's the baby and he's the one that's holding us up. I said, no matter what size we are, no matter how we are, he's still holding us. Because he's the one that ordered our steps, not us. Because we can think we're going this way, and it's up to him. He's the one that did it. When I turned around and my father was around my cousin, I was telling him, my cousin, I said, you know more about my father than I do. To the point when I came here from Arizona to visit my father and stuff, that was a foreign word for me to say father. Because I didn't have the father. I just had a grandfather. But the one thing he said, be a man and turn around and do good things and let the goodness follow you. And I noticed that the Lord put that on his heart. So throughout my whole life, everything I went through, I noticed one thing. The Lord ordered my steps.
And let me say something. Don is a man, and I want you to, if you're taking notes today, write this down. To give what you did not get. As a father, you have the power to give and to provide what was not provided for you. And I love this about Don, is that he has not made that part of his life an excuse. I mean, you don't know this, but he told me this. He said, did you know that he taught my cousin how to drive and he didn't teach me how to drive? He took my cousin out driving. And you got something from his dad, didn't you, in that point? You knew something. And here's the crazy thing. You can tell him some things about his dad that he didn't know and close some of the gaps, can't you? And that's why the enemy wants to divide families, so that we don't tell our stories and we don't share our stories with one another. And so what he's always after is he's trying to cut the destiny. He's trying to cut the godly heritage in the family. He's trying to wreck the things that are supposed to be passed from generation to generation to generation. And sometimes the most vocal children you have, the most resistant children you have, are the very same children that will take what you share with them and pass it to the next generation. And it may be one of their children that is called and anointed by God that needs to hear what's supposed to come from you to them to your grandchildren. So we can't hold that in. We have to pass that through the family. We have to pass the wisdom through the family. Just like your granddad did for you. Right? Frank, why don't you come up and share your thing?
My feet were just going. I was getting nervous, And Elder Don, he was afraid to come up here and talk. But just in a few words that he said was just like he could have written a book on that. My story is 3 fathers. I'm going to try not to be too long and try not to cry. My biological father, he was old school, born in 1887. Brother was a cowboy. And in that day, they were just men. They didn't show a lot of love. They just worked and made sure, you were a man too. My dad never told me he loved me, but I knew he did. I remember one time we were sitting on the porch. I was getting ready to go out with my friends. My mother was just crocheting. My dad was sitting there reading the Bible. My partners pull up, and he tells me, there's your partners, there's your friends. So I got up, and I leaned over and kissed my mom, and I kissed my dad goodbye. And I went and got in the car, and all my friends are like, what are you looking at? You kiss your dad? Yeah, I kiss my dad. I love him. You guys don't kiss your dad? No, we never kiss him. Try it. Try it. And again, my dad didn't show me a whole lot of love, but I knew he loved me. Just by things that he had done. The second dad is me. Wow. I was grown. They took me to church, Pentecostal church. Templo Cristiano was the name of our church. And they took me to church, and they planted that seed of God in my life. And that, you know, and going to church, you know, and I remember one time we had a basement in our church. It's a really good-sized church, and that's when we had revivals where other churches would come, and, you know, we'd have church and get fed upstairs, and we'd go downstairs and eat some more, you know. Then we go back upstairs and get fed again, you know. And I remember when Pastor, he asked for an altar call. I was maybe 8, and he says, who wants to give their heart to the Lord? So, you know, nobody got up, and I got up, and I went up there. And he prayed over me, and while he was praying over me, it was like I was in a forest. And the trees, you could see the rays were coming through, you know, from the light. And it was a feeling that I'd never felt. But again, I was 8 years old thinking, okay, after he got done, I'm thinking, well, I'm Christian now, you know. I serve God now, but I didn't know what to do. You know, I don't remember if my parents were there or not, but I didn't know. So I tried to be good, but then the bad came. You know, and as time went on there at church, I decided I didn't want to go to church anymore. So I was like the little boy next door looking through the hole in the fence and seeing what was going on out in the world. And I was looking and I thought, I want to go check it out. You know, the curiosity thing? Where it killed the cat? Right. Yeah, come on now. Well, I was out there in that curiosity thing, doing what I was doing.